Black voters are leaving the Democratic Party, and Representative Jim Clyburn discusses Trump and Speaker Johnson meeting, concerned about how the black vote is slipping away. And he goes on quoting and saying, "We ran on the platform of people over politics, and we will continue to do that." Oh, really? You don't say. How is that so? Please explain to me.
Joining me now is my friend, my brother, James Clyburn, Congressman representing South Carolina's 6th District. Good morning, my friend. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me.
Democrats have voted with Republicans in recent weeks, helping Speaker Johnson pass a bunch of different bills. How do you feel about yesterday's event with Trump and Johnson and Mar-a-Lago affects the ability for Democrats to continue to work with the Speaker?
It was a shameful presentation on the part of those two gentlemen, but I don't think that's going to have a whole lot of impact on what Hakeem Jeffries and the leadership of the Democratic Party is going to be about, because we will always put this country over any candidate. And it seems as if the Speaker is putting candidate Trump over the country of these United States.
He's part of the Republican Party. You think he's going to be loyal to Biden? And this is politics 101. All this talk about Trump being this end-all, be-all threat to democracy, we don't have that. By the way, Representative, you do realize that most of your fantastic friends are doing insider trading. I wonder what unusual whales will say about you, sir.
And we will never do that. We ran on the platform of putting people over politics, and we'll continue to do that.
Let's have democracy in the chat. Do you believe that? Type 1 for yes, Kit. They do. You awful man. It's because of people like you we're losing this republic of ours. Type 2, man, they don't put people over profit or even politics. They care about their own bottom line. They don't care about the people. Why are you asking that question, you silly goose?
And so when it comes to preserving this democracy, moving an agenda forward to benefit the American people, we will set aside the politics and not worry about...
Stop shuffling your papers, sir. Sorry, I'm talking to the guy at BSDNC, but I could hear it in the mic. Listen.
To benefit the American people, we will set aside the politics and not worry about this press conference full of bad information, misinformation, disinformation, just outright lies. And that's what they were doing. When you have a study done of 20 years of elections in this country and find out that less than 3 or 4 dozen of people voted illegally. We don't know exactly why they voted illegally. I don't know if they thought they were legal, whatever may be the case. We're talking about less than 0.0001%. That, to me, is what that press conference is all about, trying to create something out of nothing, but that will not deter us from doing what is necessary for the American people.
These are not serious politicians. I want to pull up this article here. Major media outlets urge Biden, Trump to commit to 2024 debates. After Tuesday previews by CNN and New York Times, a dozen major news outlets on Sunday called on Democratic President Joe Biden, who's seeking re-election, and former President Donald Trump, the presumptive Republican nominee. He is the nominee. It's over now. To agree now to debate each other. Although the presidential primary season is ongoing, the two historically unpopular candidates have already secured enough delegates to receive their party's nominations at the conventions this summer. The Nonpartisan Commission on Presidential Debates last year announced the date, time, and location of the 3 debates scheduled for September and October. With the contours of 2024 general election now coming into clear focus, we, the undersigned national news organizations, urge the presumptive presidential nominees to publicly commit to participating in the general election debates before November's election, says the joint signed letter from ABC News, the Associated Press, CBS News, CNN, C-SPAN, Fox News, News Nation, NBC News, Univision, NPR, PBS, NewsHour, and USA Today. Remember Cenk Uygur's meltdown about USA Today? They're still around, Janky. What about you? General election debates have rich tradition in our American democracy. Really, they do. Having played a vital role in every presidential election in the past 50 years, dating to 1976, they wrote. In each of those elections, tens of millions have tuned in to watch the candidates debating side by side in a competition of ideas for the votes for the American citizens. And in which way, in other words, two snake oil salesmen trying to fight each other to convince you that their cure-all tonic will get all your problems away. You take that tonic and you realize it's nothing but mercury. It used to happen back in the day. Or either that, the original Coca-Cola Classic with that great old booger sugar in it. The news organizations noted that though it is too early for invitations to be extended to any candidates, it's not too early for candidates who expect to meet the eligibility criteria to publicly state their support for their intention to participate in the commission's debate planned for this fall. If there's one thing Americans can agree on during this polarized time, it is that the stakes of this election are exceptionally high. No, they're not. But let's watch this meltdown continue.
So you mentioned elections. Let's talk about that. In order to be successful in November, we know that President Biden is going to need the full support of Black voters. And back in January, this is what you said.
How worried are you about Black voters showing up for President Biden in November?
See, they're going to try and guilt Black people. They're going to be even guilting Latinos, women, everybody, that if you don't support Joe Biden, you're a Trump supporter and you're a racist or a fascist.
Well, I'm not worried. I'm very concerned.
So then you weren't worried. You were very concerned. Are you still not worried? Are you still concerned? Give me an update. Where do you stand on that now?
I am still concerned because I've been around this business long enough to know that were it not for misinformation, that Hillary Clinton would have been elected president of the United States.
Oh, my God. Get over 2016. These Democrats, all of them, all these politicians are still suffering from 2016. All the problems we're facing now, all these issues, all these SJWs, all these crazy people who are liberals, who are still triggered by how Donald Trump got into office, are emotionally stunted people. They are not serious individuals. Hillary Clinton lost because she was a piss poor candidate. That's why she lost. Nobody liked her. Nobody respected her. Nobody wanted her. And unfortunately, little did we all know at the time, but Bernie Sanders was a cuck and a nutless wonder.
And I think all of us know that. And we do know that we just had recent testimony in the House with the Republican chair of the committee saying that the Russians are caring for.
The Russians, the Russians, the Russians. They're coming, folks. The Russians from the left, from the right. The Russians are everywhere. The Russians are hiding in your closet. They're under your bed. They're right behind you right now.
What misinformation, disinformation over social media in such a way that it concerns the Republican leadership, that decisions can be made based upon false information. That's what concerns me. I want the American voter to be well informed, blacks and whites, to know.
No, you don't. And no one's taking you seriously. This is somebody who cannot deal with the reality that people are leaving the Democratic Party, but they want you to be informed. They want to inform you to shut up and stop asking questions.
The answer to the 3-word question: who did this? Who did what led?
Who did? Wait, stop. Who did? And they want, look, all right, controversial statement in 3, 2, 1. And they wonder why black people are leaving the Democratic Party. No, I'm sorry, man. They got to go. These Democrats got to go. It's understandable. It's understandable. Don't worry. Hey, folks, you join me in my circle over here, too. I'm not with the Democratic Party. I don't want to be with the Democratic Party. I don't want to associate with the Democratic Party. Here you have a politician, the Representative Clyburn, saying, who did this? Who? What do you mean by that? Who did this? Who did this? Hey, who crapped on my floor? Who did this? Or how about this? The housing market is terrible. Who did this? Our infrastructure is falling apart. Who did this? Planes, trains, and automobiles ain't working no more. Who did this? Corrupt CEOs given golden parachutes as corporations go under and the American people lose the ability to own a house or even rent an apartment or start a small business. Who did this? Both Democratic and Republican politicians. Who did this? Who did this? Hey, let's have democracy in the chat. And this is going to be a free-for-all choice. No such thing as a wrong answer. Who did this? I want to see some creativity, folks. Who did this? Who did this? Notori Lee, who did this? I have your chat still up here. Notori, I'm going to start off with you. Who did this? Robbie Burns, Michael Phillip, Driving Me Macy. Who did this? People on Rumble, you're not excused from this. Who did this? People on Rockfin. Who did this? Odyssey people. Kick people. Who did this? Who did this? There's responsible parties must step forward. Who did this?
To January,
We're gonna rewind.
the Republican leadership that decisions can be made based upon false information. That's what concerns me. I want the American voter to be well informed, blacks and whites, to know the answer to the 3-word question: who did this? Who?
It was Trey.
Did what led to January 6, 2021? Who did what led to women losing their reproductive rights? Who did what was caused us not to be able to pass a bipartisan border bill? We finally yesterday got enough votes to pass our intelligence legislation, which Donald Trump tweeted against. So we are going to spend the next few months answering that one question: who did this? And when it comes to Joe Biden, we're going to be asking, who eliminated student loan debt now to the tune of over $149 billion? Mm-hmm. Who got this economy back on track? Who passed the comprehensive bipartisan infrastructure bill? Mm-hmm. Who got us safer communities? And we just had a bill, the president has now issued an executive order to deal with gun safety. That is what we're going to be asking throughout this campaign.
Who did this?
Who did this?
That's gonna bring in the voters, right? And in particular, hey, maybe that'll bring in black voters. Why not? Hey, in the off chance, hey, black voters, is that gonna bring you in? Give us your thoughts. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna open the floor. Latino voters, who did this? Is that a catchy slogan? Is that gonna bring you in? Hey, hold on. This one's for the ladies. Oh yeah, to all those ladies out there, listen to Hard Lens Media in the morning. Who did this? Is that going to bring you into the voting booth to vote for Biden? Type in the comment section below. Oh yeah, nice and classy. Who did this? Who did this? That's what's going to bring in voters. And they wonder why they're losing black people.
And we'll lay out the litany of thises.
Big brother, sir, before I let you go, I do have to ask you one last question. There's a new Wall Street Journal poll that has basically suggested that in 7 different swing states that the numbers of black voters who Joe Biden needs to turn out is slipping. And it's slipping in a way that is not going to be good for him. What do you think the campaign needs to do in order to not only stabilize but reverse this trend?
Well, we're going to have to go to the streets. We cannot rely on the media to do this.
He just said to BSDNC, we can't rely on you guys. You guys suck. No one likes you. They hate you just as much as they hate us. Can't rely on the media. Don't bite the hand that feeds you, sir.
Saying this for a long time now, and I still believe it very strongly, that this is going to be hand-to-hand combat. We got to take to the street.
Hand-to-hand combat. Wah, 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 wah. Hands so fast you won't even see it coming your way. That's what's going to bring in black voters. Hand-to-hand combat. We got to do that. Hand-to-hand combat. Oh, if RBN doesn't have a field day, was this? They're missing out. Hey, Nick, CJ, in the off chance you're hearing this video, man, who did this? That should bring you in, man. Who did this?
We got to go to these groups. We got to go out to the African-American community, not rely on social media because so much of that information is tainted. It is inserted by foreign operatives who are trying to disrupt this democracy. So we have to go straight to the people.
Democratic Representative James Clyburn of South Carolina.
Hey, that audio guy's screwing up because you're getting these feedback. What's going on? BSDNC, you have a budget, okay? Listen again.
Go straight to the people.
Democratic Representative James Clyburn of South Carolina.
You hear that? These are not serious people. These are not serious politicians. This should explain to all of you why we need to abandon the Democratic Party. And don't worry, folks, we got some good Rumble segment only stories. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome because I'm really upset at just how insane this whole party system we have here. The Democrats as an institution, the Democrats as politicians, the Democrats as our quote unquote leaders are now crying because they're losing votes. They're crying because they've lost their voting base. And they're going to do everything they can to talk down to black people. And it's going to be the worst kind of talking down. It's going to be hinted with bigotry and racism. Yes, it will be. Trust me on it. A lot of these liberals, and they're going to bring out their little mascots, those who are associated with the black community or Latino community and women. They're going to be the liberal puppets talking down to working class citizens, saying, if you're a black voter, you better support us because Trump's going to make things better or worse for you. There we go. Hold on. Hello. Had a little Freudian slip there. Trump's going to make your life worse. If you're a black voter, you got to support Biden because he cares about social issues impacting the black community. Disregard the fact that he wrote the crime bill. If you're a woman voter, you have to support Joe Biden because Joe Biden cares about a woman's right to choose. Disregard the fact that he was against Roe v. Wade. See where I'm going? Break away from the system, folks. But I'll leave this as a final word. Who did this?